Hi there, and thanks for joining me for this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter from here in Florence in Tuscany, Italy. We're halfway through our 2-week Tuscany Live Away program in Florence. As you can see by looking around, the weather is fantastic. This is the best time of the year to visit Tuscany. The most striking thing that we've noticed since being here is how alive the city has become. You know, of course, Italy was one of the first places to be really struck by the pandemic here in Europe. And for a long time, they were in complete lockdown. So this city, which is normally full of visitors from all around the world, was completely devoid of all tourism. And so, although on one hand, it would be nice to enjoy it with a few less people, it's refreshing to see all the faces out here celebrating this magnificent city. And I'll tell you, I've been here a number of times before, but it never ceases to amaze me. The architecture of the grand buildings here, the palazzos built back in the days of the Medici, the Duomo. We visited, of course, the Pitti Palace, the Uffizi Gallery today, where, you know, no matter how many times you visit, how much time you spend here, you always learn something different, you discover something new, and that's the beauty of spending a longer time here. I'd only ever spent a couple of days at a time here in Florence. This is the longest time by far that I've ever spent, and I now know why. And I'm convinced of our decision to do a Live Away program here, as our members who are joining me here. Many of them had been to Florence at one time in the past, and some are here for the first time. But I think everybody agrees that there is so much to see, so much culture to immerse yourself in, and so much gelato to eat. Certainly, this is, you know, one of those little secrets about Italy, in particularly in Florence, that some of us really appreciate, which is the finer things like gelato. I'll definitely come back with a couple of extra kilos on. On that note, as you may recall, in our newsletter week before last, we had sent out a survey talking about live-aways, in particular in Italy, because we know that there is a lot of interest in this style of travel. Spending a couple of weeks in one place, it gives you an opportunity to really settle in, relax, hang around in a cafe or having an Aperol Spritz or a glass of wine. And so the feedback from that survey, which I promised you, was quite interesting, because we got a couple of hundred responses. So thank you to all those who took a moment to fill that in. And there seems to be a lot of interest for Live Away programs in the southern part of Italy. From here in Florence, I'm actually headed down to the east coast of Sicily, where I'm going to be taking a look and researching, finalizing our next Live Away destination, which will be to Syracuse on the coast of eastern Sicily. We're going to be heading there next year in March in combination with Malta. But the other places in Italy that people are interested in going to include Campania. That's the region that is around where the Amalfi Coast is, so it's south of Naples. So we're looking at spending a couple of weeks there. That'll give us a chance really to spend some time seeing that wonderful coast, places like Capri, Ischia, as well as Sorrento itself, and of course Pompeii, the ancient city that was buried by the Mount Vesuvius several decades ago. And we're also going to look at Puglia. That's the heel of Italy's boot, as it were. And this is a destination that a lot of people said that they were interested in visiting, which I found fascinating, because geographically speaking, it's not as much on the tourist trail of the more famous parts of Italy. And so I'm going to be heading over to Bari and Lecce and visiting some of the spectacular coastline, the famous trulli. Those are those cone-shaped houses that people lived in back in the day. And so we're going to be developing some very interesting programs there that I'm hoping to release out to you. And certainly all your feedback on this subject has been very, very helpful. In case you missed it this past week, we had our webinar on our latest Live Away program that's happening next March and April of 2023 to New Zealand. New Zealand, of course, on the top of many people's bucket lists. We're going to be visiting both islands, spending 2 weeks on the South Island in Queenston, which is the gateway to the Southern Alps of New Zealand, and 2 weeks on the North Island up on the Bay of Plenty. So if you missed that webinar, you'll find a link to the replay in the blog below, and we'd be delighted to get your call if you're interested in booking that. There is an early bird booking bonus for that program. And of course, you can do that in conjunction with Bali if you're coming all the way across the Pacific. Then a great thing to do. So lots in store for you. And again, I'm thrilled to be here in Italy. I've given a few images of our stay here for the past week. We're delighted that we still have another week to go. I look forward to catching up with you again next week, where I'll be heading to Sicily in the southern part of Italy.